Well, I am done with my laundry. You might note that that was yesterday's video. So what am I doing? Well, I'll tell you what I'm doing. I just felt like doing another video, so I got out of the car
and... You can see there's a lot of people over there. Very popular spot.
Sorry, we will turn off that. X that out. There we go. That was just a rude interruption. My fault. Stop at the stop sign. Get back to Main Street. Actually, it's not Main Street. It's South 2nd Avenue. So what am I going to do the video about? I have no idea. RV related, retirement related, over 60 related. Yeah, all those things. This is, I think here's what I want to talk about. I live in several places. Some RVers, nomads, go from place to place to place every couple of weeks, and I don't. Right now, and when I say right now, I mean this could change at any time, on a whim. Summers in Eagle Nest, New Mexico, where I am now, and winters in Quartzsite, and the in-between times, the months in the fall and the spring between those places, my home base in Artesia, New Mexico. And for those of you that don't know, that's in southeastern New Mexico. Where I am now is in far northern, very far northern New Mexico. In fact, where I am now, I'm driving home from Raton, New Mexico. It's about a 65-mile drive to get back to camp. I'm about 5 miles. I'm about to get on Interstate 25. If I go north 5 miles, boom, Colorado. That's how far north I am. So I get these mixed emotions when I'm about to transition from one place to another. And 2 weeks from today, I'll be looking at the camera talking and on the road because I'll be pulling the trailer back to Artesia. I'll be leaving Eagle Nest for the season. So what emotions? I'm excited to be going home. I miss my little house. I miss the Artesia area. I miss my friends there that I've made. It's gotten to be a place that feels like home. I've been a little homesick for it. On the other hand, I feel a little almost nauseous about leaving Eagle Nest. I've made such really satisfying connections with people. I've been able to use my channel to help a lot of people in the community, and to do something that you love doing and have it help somebody else without design is pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. I know you recently saw a video I did that I basically said, you can do a YouTube channel too. And if you're willing to be vulnerable and willing to be who you really are talking to the camera, you will be successful. And I say that with confidence because I know there's so many millions of people out there seeking did I miss the turn? I don't want to go north. I want to go south. I think I better go up here and turn around and read the signs. What do you think? There's kind of a Subway freestanding store out in the middle of nowhere here. And I think that was, I could have turned left there and gotten on, and that would have been south, but it didn't have a sign that I saw. No, that's north. Where's south is the other way. I think I messed something up here. I think maybe you can only get on going north here. No, there's south. It says south to the left. I must have been, either the sign is gone or I missed it. I don't know. But we want to make a left here. And Kapulin Volcano National Monument, there's a sign for that. I don't know anything about that. So if you know about that, tell me in the comment what that's all about. Is that worth going to someday? And how far from Rattan is it? It doesn't say. It just has the name of the monument and the and an arrow. Now here we are, south 25, and we're going to be looking for, I think 64. You know, I might want to put Eagle Nest into, well, I'll put Cimarron in just in case. It's 4 miles, and yeah, it's west 64, so I was right. But anyway, I have these mixed emotions about leaving one, and this happens every time. It happens when I go from Quartzsite to Artesia, and really that's not fair because that's only been once, and that was when I actually moved to Artesia. So it's more properly when I go from, in the past when I've gone from Quartzsite back to Pahrump, where I was. I loved Pahrump. It also brings up something. You can love something and at the same time decide to do something different. And that doesn't mean you didn't really love what you were doing or where you were. It doesn't. And why do I bring that up? Because I did a video the other day. It was released today, as a matter of fact. It was tongue-in-cheek, you know, escape plan for RV life. And it was, right when you clicked on the video, I told you the joke was I was going to buy a lottery ticket, and I explained my fantasy about what I would do if I won the $1 billion, and after taxes and everything, lump sum, it was like $200 million. I said I would buy a really fancy place in Manhattan, and I'd buy a beach house in Malibu, and I would take private plane back and forth so I could take Dottie and George with me easily. And someone got on and said, I thought you said you loved RV life. I'm like, I just deleted the comment. I'm like, come on. Of course I love RV life. I can't have a fantasy about what I would do if I won, you know, after taxes, $250 million. If I said if I won $250 million, I'd buy a little bit nicer rig and keep doing what I'm doing, no one would buy that for a second. For that kind of money, I could buy 10 RVs and I can have someone drive them for me. I could hire pilots. Basically, when you have that kind of money, you can do anything you want. And I've always loved New York City, Manhattan. I've always loved Malibu. I've lived in LA, but I've never lived in New York. But I've worked in New York on business, traveling there. And I really liked it when it was on someone else's dime. And I won't care about the dime if I won the lottery. But that wasn't my point. I can love Pahrump. People said that too. How come you left Pahrump? What was wrong? Why didn't you like it anymore? I did like it. I found something I might like better. Is that okay? Equally or better? There are pluses and minuses. One of the big pluses of Pahrump is being so close to Las Vegas. I mean, anything that you needed or wanted was an hour drive away or less. All right. Now, Artesia, not so much. But in Artesia, I got a place where I can park my RV, full hookups, and I have a little tiny house. It's furnished, and I love it. And there's a ton of room, and it feels like luxury. And in Pahrump, I was preferred RV resort. I was like, you buy into it, you become a part owner of the resort. But guess what? You don't get to have your own piece, your own. You can't. There's no little buildings or anything, so that's out. So that's a minus. And you can't keep the same spot. And even though you're a part owner, when you're there, you got to pay like $500 a month when you're there, which is a good price for utilities and everything for a bona fide RV resort with a pool and clubhouse and all those amenities. And in Pahrump, it was very convenient to literally everything. Unlike where I am now, is not that convenient. I can walk in Pahrump. I could walk. I never did. I rode my bike to Smith's often. I could ride my bike easily to Walgreens, Smith's. And if you pushed me a little bit, I could have gone to just about every other place in the middle of town by bike if I wanted to. Not so much where I live now. So pluses and minuses. I like New Mexico a lot. I've fallen in love with it over the past few years, coming up in the summers and taking advantage of the amazing deal they had for even out-of-staters on New Mexico state parks. That's all gone now. I mean, it's totally different rates, and you can only stay a week, and you have to be out a week. Before, you could stay 2 weeks and you could bounce from park to park all summer. No longer possible. Can't do it. So, but that's how I fell in love with New Mexico, and in particular, Eagle Nest. What an amazing area. Now, it's mountainous in Raton, it's mountainous in Eagle Nest, but between here and there, well, let me show you what it looks like between here and there. You didn't see this on the other video. It kind of feels like I'm in the Great Plains, right? The NRA has some big, well, it's not that big, looks like some kind of center that's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, museum or something. I don't know what that is. But I've said this before on the channel that saying goodbye is, in Nomads, we don't say goodbye, we say see you down the road. And that means that I'm going to miss you, and I'm sad that we're parting, but I know I'm going to see you again. And most of the time, that's absolutely true, especially if you're what I call, as a nomad, if you're Quartzsite centric, because so many thousands of nomads converge on Quartzsite every winter. Not only because it's affordable, and it's because the sense of community among nomads is not stronger anywhere else that I'm aware of other than Quartzsite, Arizona. And that's an interesting thought. This year, every other year I've been staying in one of the long-term visitor areas, just part of the BLM. Why do I say that? Because when I don't say that, some smart aleck will always get on the comments and say, the LTVA is part of the BLM. Like I'm a moron and I don't know that. It's not usually an important point. But sort of the way people talk in Quartzsite. If you're staying on BLM land, you're probably not staying at an LTVA. You're staying at one of the free 14-day areas. That's you won't say I'm staying on BLM. You'll say I'm staying on the LTVA, and you might even say which one they're for. And truth be told, it's not really four. It's one big one, but they're next to each other. So it's all contiguous LTVA land, and where they have a little office and an entrance, they call it something different. It's LTVA West and North are across the street from each other, just south of town, and LTVA Tyson Wash and LTVA South are on the southern border of those two areas on either side of the street going further south out of town on 95. But the borders touch each other, and it's just, and when you get a permit, it doesn't matter which one you stay in, you can bounce back and forth all you want, or staying like I would stay in one. The LTVA South has the dump stations. It's the only one of the four. That's where the dump stations are. So a lot of people are drawn there. And it's popular. Yeah. So here's what I'm wondering. This year I'm not doing that. What, you say? I'm staying in an RV park in town because I want to get a taste of what it's like to spend the season in town with the conveniences of having full hookups. And it's not that expensive. I'm staying for the full month of December, January, and February. That's 3 months. And that's $1,000. So that's $333 a month plus electric. And trust me, you don't use a lot of electric because it's not hot at all. So you're not going to be using your AC in December, January, and February. You're just not. Maybe 1 or 2 days at the end of February. Maybe it gets warm enough so you'd be tempted. Otherwise, no. So I'm going to be if I have one of those months over $100, I will be stymied and shocked. But we'll see. I'll tell you exactly what my bills are. And I'll still be using solar, so that'll cut it down even more. The big emotion of saying see you down the road, our version again of saying goodbye, that's big, and that happens in Quartzsite more than other places because there's so many people you get connected to, and everybody leaves right around the same time. And why do we say see you down the road instead of goodbye? Because goodbye hurts more. It just does. I know that doesn't make a lot of sense. Sometimes words are important. There are always certain people that are especially close to you that you hope are going to be there. You've seen videos with I call him my brother, Daryl. I hope he's going to be there. He doesn't have 100% plans. My friend Jim Bertrand from Canada, he'll be there because he got married to a Quartzsite woman. And she teaches the line dancing classes all winter. So I know he'll be there. And he'll be a great companion to go down to Mexico with. He loves doing that. I love going down there with him. And I hope Gerald's there too. And he's got a pretty tricked out Jeep Rubicon. And I'd love to go. I went on one trip with him out four-wheeling, and I'd like to do more with him. And my friends, I'm pretty sure Barb and Judy and Lisa from camp last year will be there this year. I'm almost certain about that. And I'm sure they all view the channel. If they have other plans or they're not sure, I'm sure they'll jump in the comments and let us know. Let me know what's going on. And will it always be Quartzsite? I don't know. This is really comfortable for now. The funny thing that happens on my travel day. Now, when December 1st comes around, I'll be doing this for 4 years. Yet, every time I hook up the trailer and go through my checklist and put it in gear into drive, I'm nervous. And that dissipates within a mile. Don't ask me why. It's just, that's the way it happens. And the people that are with me this far in this video and haven't gotten bored are probably people that some part of them wants to do this. So I'll talk to you. And come on, face it, the scenery's boring. Hang on. I'll talk directly to you. Big worry's money, right? Everybody worries about the money. How expensive is it really? And you can make it as inexpensive as you need it to be. I see it over and over and over again. I see that. Going to Quartzsite, you theoretically can, if you buy an LTVA pass for the season, you can stay there from September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. 7 months, more than half a year. This year, it's $180. People are losing their, you know what, because they want to raise it to $600. They think it's outrageous. Well, $600 for 7 months is pretty friggin' good. It's less than $100 a month. And I can almost guarantee it'll be something 600 or something closer next year, but that's still cheap. How much do you pay for rent? How much is your mortgage? Is it $100 a month? I don't think it is. Your property, if you own a house, your property taxes are more than $100 a month, likely. Now, don't get in the comments and say my property taxes are $1,200, $1,112 a year, and you're full. Just don't. You know what I'm saying. The average home price in this country right now is, the last time I looked, was about $350,000. And what does it take to boondock? Do you have to have a fancy rig with thousands of dollars worth of solar? Well, talk to my friends. Talk to Barb and Cheryl, Pup Camper 58. She's not going to be there this winter. She extended her Tennessee camp hosting through the winter, so I may cry friggin' talking about this, but she's not going to be there. But she's Pup Camper 58, and if you're interested in camp hosting, get onto her channel, subscribe to her, and watch her videos. And she's doing more and more videos about what it's really like to be a camp host in a state park. And it translates across states. Now, you're not going to get paid, but in the way that you think, if money, you're going to get paid with a beautiful campsite, utilities and everything included. It's a pretty sweet deal for not that much work. And the work, I did it. It's pleasurable. I like it. And if you're shy around people, it forces you to interact with people. And it feels good. But my point that I almost lost was these other people that I mentioned that I camped with last year and the year before didn't have much invested in like solar systems like me at all. Very little. Very little. You know, maybe a power station and one solar panel or two solar panels at the most. And were they miserable because they didn't have my 1100 watts of solar and 700 amp hours of lithium batteries and all the fancy schmancy stuff? No! No! They did not suffer. They were just fine. So no. And do I need to have a fancy rig? No. Talk to my friend Judy. Judy, you're listening. How old is your rig? You know, the most amazing thing that you can say about your home on wheels is it's two words: paid for. Guarantee you, Judy doesn't have she has a Class C. She loves it. She doesn't have a loan on it. I think it's probably, Judy, you tell them it's 25, 30 years old. It's old, but it's nice. Deborah Dickinson has a Class C that's over 30 years old. And it looks like, hey, that's an old rig from the outside, but if you get on the inside, it's like, whoa, where am I? This is amazing. Don't let money scare you, because money's not, this lifestyle, money's not the problem. This lifestyle can make money problems, it could be the solution to money problems, and it often is. I mean, I could afford to retire someplace in a halfway decent one bedroom apartment, nice, somewhere. I think I'd be miserable. I wouldn't have this. I talked about having mixed emotions, but most of the overriding emotion, like knowing that I'm going to leave here in 2 weeks, is excitement about what's next. You know, a little bit of sadness, but I'll be back next year. If I want to be back, I'll be back. And the other things that people think are a problem, healthcare, just get, if you're 65, choose wisely on the decisions that you make for advantage plans or the like, or supplement plans, or neither. Just make sure you understand whatever you get. If you're going to be constantly moving, make sure that that's going to work for you. Right? And the best way to find out is a trusted insurance agent that knows this stuff inside and out. So, I didn't notice that place before. It's like a bar or something. Didn't notice it. historical marker. I bet it's something to do with the Santa Fe Trail. So health insurance, you can work it out. Car insurance, all that stuff, you can work it out. Finding a permanent address, all that stuff can be worked out. If you watch RV channels, it's like, oh, everything's breaking all the time. How can I afford that? Stuff breaks in your house too. Now, if you're in an apartment and you have a landlord that fixes stuff, you'll find it different in an RV. But if you choose wisely on your RV, and I always recommend getting help choosing wisely. I would. Next RV I buy, I'm hiring a inspector, and that's $1,000-$1,200, but it's well spent. Even if I were to buy a new one, which I never would, I would still hire an inspector. I wouldn't trust a RV dealership that says they inspect it themselves and guarantee it. I wouldn't trust that for a nanosecond. Hire your own person. Like if I buy a house, I want to hire the home inspector. I want them reporting to me, not reporting to the seller. Would you buy a home without a home inspection? Your mortgage, probably can't get a mortgage without that, but I don't know about that, but I've never bought a house without an inspection. And they're not cheap either. But if you choose wisely, your expenses are going to be manageable. The only thing that gives me pause when I think about like a Class A, and if you don't know what that is, that's one of those big bus kind of RVs that have enormous engines that you blow that engine and that engine's no good. You're talking $10,000, $20,000, $25,000, maybe $30,000 to get you back on the road. Versus pulling a trailer, if my engine blows, it's like no different than I'm driving a car and the engine blows. It's not cheap, but I can recover from it much easier. Even a Class C built on a chassis of like a more common vehicle. But the Class A thing scares me. So, assuming that you've chosen wisely, you've gotten something that you can afford that's, quote, paid for, no loans, and gotten yourself debt-free, and that's really essential. I mean, it's not a requirement, but it's essential. It's just, if it's going to delay your launch by a couple of years, then buckle down, live in as cheap a place as you can, and pay off those debts. Don't have any debts. So I don't have any debts. I got my cell phone bill. I've got what I need to pay for gas and food and live on the road, and my insurance, car and health insurance. For the time being, my internet can be off my cell phone, that kind of thing. I can't think of a way that you can live more frugally without like some kind of government assistance than this lifestyle. So don't worry, be happy. If you want to do this, you can do this. I want to tap back into what I said earlier about starting. You can start your own RV channel. You can go your own YouTube channel. You can go and watch that video where I talk about this in detail. But as I was saying, all it takes is to be willing to be vulnerable, look into the camera and be who you are. And the thing I didn't mention in that breath, which is equally important, is that you want to talk about your niche or what your channel's about is something that you are passionate about. And it follows that if you're passionate about something long enough, you'll become somewhat of an expert. When I started my channel, it was all about my RV travels. And I was not an expert, but I was passionate. So people watched. And as I learned over the years with my passion of this lifestyle, I've learned more and more. I wouldn't classify myself as an expert at this point, but I would say I've become knowledgeable. So you can do what I'm doing. You can. I know you can. And I say that just not on my experience, because maybe you're not like me. But there's such a wide variety of different kinds of people doing this lifestyle in so many different ways that I can't imagine that there's anyone out there that wants to do this that there's some barrier that they can't. And don't throw the super obvious ones at me in the comments, because I'm not talking about the super obvious ones. Someone that is blind, for example, would have a difficult time traveling. They would need a workaround. They would need to be transported from place to place. Someday soon, RVs and cars, they'll drive themselves. But it's not much of a practical option now. But you know what I'm saying. I'm talking about you. You. And your spouse sitting next to you on the couch watching. One thing I'm not an expert in is how to live as a couple on the road. Boy, that's got to be tough. It was actually in my therapy career for quite a while. I was a marriage counselor. I was a good marriage counselor. Those who can't do teach, right? Those who can't do teach, and sometimes they're really good teachers. I was a good therapist. I could probably give some people some really good advice on how to make a relationship last through living in close quarters like that. But put me in that situation, not so much. Not so much. I'm real short on practical experience there. Which is why it isn't something that I talk about. Because I usually talk about stuff I have experience with. That feels like this is what I wanted to get out when I got in the car. And it's like, I want to do another video. Something's pushing me. So I think whatever was pushing me has exited me onto the camera to you, and I feel good about it. And let's turn the camera around as we're about 3.5 miles from Cimarron. I'm starting to see mountains. Look at that. Isn't that something? And once we get to Cimarron, it's just a hop, skip, and a jump to get home, which means it's about 2:15 now. And I don't know if I mentioned the date. It's the last day of August 2025, and it's 2:15. We'll be home before 3. And on the way in, I'm going to fill up my water bladder to get some water in the And the rig, probably be the last time I have to fill it up, don't you think? For 2 weeks? Absolutely. And I'm not ending it only because it's such a beautiful sight coming into Cimarron here, even a couple of miles out. Passing a campground there. It's Panil, P-O-N-I-L campground. It looks pretty pleasant, nice shady tree. As I went by going the other way, I saw a couple of tent campers on grass under trees right by a little creek. Pretty sweet. Welcome to Cimarron. We have arrived. Another stopping place on the Santa Fe Trail. And I think of the Santa Fe Trail as a interstate highway back in the late 1800s. And famous hotel here, St. James, still standing. You can stay there. And you can stay in the same, if you so choose, and it's available, you can stay in the same room as Wyatt Earp stayed back in the day. They say he stayed here with his family, brothers, when they were on their way to Tombstone. I don't know if that's true or not. We're passing the Valero here on the left and Rocky's Market. And we just passed the Kit Carson restaurant, which I ate there a few weeks ago. It was pretty good. We're entering the center of Cimarron here. And up here, there's a sign for the St. James Hotel. You make a left and go about half a mile, and you'll find yourself in front of that majestic old hotel. And that's where the historic center of the old town used to be. Wasn't here on this highway because this highway wasn't here. But up here on the left is my favorite shopping area, because it starts with a free classic car museum. Next to that's the laundromat. Next to that is the Creamy Drive-In, ice cream and burgers, terrific, and Russell's grocery store and car wash. Love that. All those businesses. Love them all. So Eagle Nest is from right this point. It's 25 miles. And we'll be home. So with that, I'm going to say thanks for joining me on my little drive and talk. Thanks for letting me get it. What seemed trapped in me, I let it out, and it felt good. I'll see you on the next one. And Dottie also says goodbye. Look, she's sleeping. Aren't you sleeping, Dottie dog? Well, not really. Now she's looking at me going, what do you want, Dad? She's trying to sleep. It's my nap time. Take care. Bye.